So CZ, please take the mic and give your remarks. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kwame. So yeah, usually I like to take a mic and walk around, kind of more freedom, but I think this will do. So today, actually, it is my true pleasure to be here. I've traveled for the last 21 hours to get here. Also a few hours after this event, I'm actually going to take another 21 hours of flight to get back to where I came from. So this event is very important to me, and I think it's very important to everyone that's here. Oh, thank you. See, if you wish for it, it happens. So I want to say a few things. This event is actually truly amazing. I want to share one experience about me attending events. 5 years ago, 2013, I went to the Vegas event, a blockchain event. And that event, no one was sponsoring it. I paid for myself, but I think that's the best event the best money I spent for myself. So 5 years later, I'm standing here with a billionaire picture behind me. So all of you guys can become billionaires in 5 years, hopefully. So one of the key experiences some people, well, the event organizers and a few people who were involved in the event have already experienced is one of the sponsor payments, the sponsorship payment that we did was done by, of course, crypto. Right? So we made that payment from I don't know where. I think the person who was making that payment was actually based in Taiwan. And that was done on a Sunday. It was not a small amount of money. It's a decent amount of money. I think if we go by a traditional bank route, the money, this event probably would not happen in the same way. The money probably would not have arrived by now. So the fact that we were able to transfer the money very quickly through the blockchain made that happen. So this event is actually really is a demonstration of what the blockchain can do. So, and that's the most basic form, the most basic feature of what the blockchain can do, transferring across countries. So, I was also very impressed with the number of ideas that was proposed and the winners of the competition. So I think basically the level of understanding, at least at a conceptual level, is quite high. I think the next key steps is really to execute them, is to realize them, is to actually build them into real products. And that's really the hard part. So having a concept is usually the easy part. The harder part is to make them into a real world application. So yeah, because of this scheduling, I wasn't able to attend the earlier parts of this conference, which I fully regret. I just want to see a show of hands. How many people here own crypto? Wow, actually a really large number. Very surprising. And how many people use Binance? Okay, the same hands pretty much. Okay, so that's very reassuring. So let me share a little bit about what Binance is and what we do. Do we have a slide? I'm wishing for the slide. Even without a slide, I can actually talk about it quite easily. Oh, it's up there. Wish list. Okay, all right. Let's go back a bit. Let's go back a bit more. All right. I'll skip that for. Oh, okay, great. Now I can set my neck. Okay, so Binance is one of the largest crypto exchanges. I think most of you guys know already. And I think what's more important than large or small is we're one of the most popular exchanges. I think you guys can get the feel from the crowd that not that many crypto exchanges get the level of acceptance. People love it. People like it. I think this is very important. And one of the key things we do is we protect investors. So many people say that, but to actually do it is really difficult, especially in the crypto space. I think many people talk, I think regulation is a big topic for this conference and for everywhere this year about crypto. But right now, the fact is most countries lack regulation around the crypto space. So there's not a clear regulation. And I believe in this kind of environment where the regulations are not clear, it is especially important for us to regulate ourselves. So we have to set a very strong example of doing everything properly and doing everything solid, doing everything to protect users. And we have to make some really, really hard decisions sometimes. So I think this is the key reason that Binance was able to become popular, become successful. So we actually make some of the really hard decisions. I will share in a little bit. So one of the key is actually listing review. Many people will have a project, they'll come to me, hey CZ, I have this project, can you help me list it? My response, I apologize, I almost never engage. The only place to submit a project for listing is through the web form. And we do not allow our listing team to contact with project teams. There's too many attempts for bribery, too many other attempts to influence us. So our review acceptance rate is less than 3% actually. So, so we are one of the most international exchanges. So I think before us, there was a few other exchanges which are quite large and popular, but they only have English interface. I mean, this audience speaks English, but many other people don't. They only have a website. They don't have mobile apps. They don't have a lot of other, they don't have a PC app. They don't have a Mac app. So we have all of that. And the way we view the world is one world. So we live on this one little round ball that's kind of blue. And we're all people on this planet. We don't really have a strong view in terms of locations, countries, languages. And I think the only technical difference is really the language that's being spoken. So we want to break that barrier. So we want to provide as many languages as possible. So right now we support 10 languages officially, and we also rely on Google to translate the rest for us. Our website is actually quite simple in terms of number of words, so Google usually does do a pretty good job. Okay, I talked about this already. So customer support is one of the things that's very lacking in our industry. I think before us, typically if you submit a ticket, say if you have something that you need help with, you can wait for 2 or 3 weeks. And we are actually a financial platform. So we felt that was not good enough. And I think even 24 hours is not good enough. But that's where we are right now. So we still have a lot of room to grow. So hopefully we will be able to improve that very significantly in the next little while. So I think as a blockchain business, it's very important to be transparent and to be engaged. So I think we are the first platform that established the 2-hour rule. So when something bad happens, we issue an update every 2 hours. So basically our users know, our community know what happens. And I'm very happy that now other exchanges and other service providers are copying that, and that's very good. These are some of our social media followers. So today we have about 800K followers on Twitter, and in our Telegram groups we have about 150K users, all the groups combined, and we have 21 Telegram groups in different languages. This is some of the things people say about us. Most of them are quite good. I wouldn't dwell on that for so long. So, okay, so before I get into the ecosystem part, I want to share with you why we do the things we do. So I think this is very important for people to understand why I travel for like hours and hours to get to a conference, why we still work very hard, even though all of our core team are financially free. They are all rich. So we felt it's very simple. As humans, we want to do something that's meaningful. We want to do something that's helpful. So I think ingrained in humans, we want to help another human being. So once we take care of ourselves, we want to take care of somebody else. So I think if we don't do that, then our species will not be here. Any species that doesn't do that will not last very long. Yeah. So other people are doing great things. Like Elon Musk is like trying to change human species into an interstellar species. That's great. I don't know how to do that. But we do know how to run a proper crypto exchange. So we do everything very properly, and we want to spread the freedom of crypto. So we believe by giving people more access to blockchain, to cryptocurrency, it will increase the freedom in a few different levels. It will increase your freedom of assets, the different kind of assets you can hold. It will increase your freedom of investments, so different type of investments you can make. It will increase your freedom of transactions. So for example, we can make a transfer very quickly to sponsor this event, even though we were very far away at the time. You will increase your freedom of fundraising. So if you're a startup looking to raise money for those ideas that was really good, if they need money to actually execute them, now blockchain cryptocurrency gives you a very strong platform to raise money internationally. So now you can raise money very easily from all over the world. So in the end, so with all these freedoms being increased, I think you can see that the human society will benefit from this high level of freedom much in a very significant ways that people still don't realize yet. So it is our mission to increase this freedom, to distribute this freedom. This is what Binance is all about. So Binance is right now, most people know us as an exchange, but we view ourselves as the freedom promoters in this industry. So that's what we do. So with that in mind, we actually have a few very strong initiatives that we have started. So let me go through them. The first one is Binance Labs. How many of you have heard of Binance Labs? A few, not too many, huh? So Binance Labs is a blockchain technology incubator. So we actually invest mostly our own money into startup projects, and we want to invest them pre-ICO. We want to identify, and we especially want to identify technology projects. The guys who are very strong on technology, but say maybe weaker on fundraising or marketing, because we believe that's something we're very strong in. By having Binance backing them, usually any project Binance backs will not be worried about money at all in the future. So we want to look for strong technology teams. One thing about Binance Labs I want to describe a little bit. I told the team many times that Binance Labs is we don't measure by return. We don't measure by ROI. The reason being that I'm very confident you'll be negative in the long run. So we always invest in Binance coins. So if you have a project that needs funding, we'll give you some Binance coin, BNB. And then you take that Binance coin, if you have to spend it, you convert it into whatever money you have to spend with, and you build a team and build a product. I think there will be a few projects that may outrun the increase in valuation of Binance coin. They will outperform us from a company, from a team perspective, from a project perspective. But if we invest in 100 projects, half of them probably will go to zero. A number of them will be break even, and 10–20% of them will do very well. If we take the average of those companies, I think the average, it'd be quite impossible for the average to outperform the Binance coin itself. But why are we still giving the Binance coin out? Financially, it'd be much better for us to just hold the Binance coin. But this is the reason why we want to build the industry. So we want to invest in blockchain infrastructure projects. We want to invest in projects that over 5–10 years later will help build out the industry. So anything that's very fundamental, like new, faster blockchains, safer wallets, easier to use wallets, decentralized blockchains, even decentralized chats, networks, VPNs, etc. So this is the reason we invest. We want to build out the industry. It's not just for the return. I firmly believe that the average of I believe that Binance coin will outrun the average of the projects we invest in. But we still want to do that. So that's Binance Labs. And because of this reason, initially I thought of every fund in this industry wants to invest in Binance Labs because they want to have some relationship with us. Every fund wants to have a relationship with Binance because they want to have a communication channel with us for the other projects they invest in that wants to list on Binance. But because we're not looking for returns, we said we will not take outside money. It will all be our own money. And the way we build relationships with outside funds is we will invest in them. So we'll become their limited partners. We'll become their LPs. And they will have to give us reports, not we have to give them reports. So, so that's something we're doing right now. The next part is Launchpad. Launchpad, the platform is actually always active, but we just haven't put a lot of projects on it. Launchpad is basically an ICO platform. If you have a project that wants to do a exchange-based, centralized way of raising money, then we can help you facilitate that. And we have probably the best user base for this. None of the projects we have put on there, I think we put probably in total about 5 or 6 projects, and none of the projects have taken more than 2 minutes to raise more than $10 million. So of the 5 projects, every project raised $10 million US in less than 2 minutes. So, but because of that, we're actually extremely selective. Now the pressure is on us. If we choose the wrong project, then it's all our fault because a lot of our users put their trust in us. So this, again, is one part of protecting users. So actually, for the last 2 or 3 months or so, we haven't done one project yet. So we're becoming extremely selective. So Binance Info is a platform for information distribution. So right now, there's a couple platforms in this space which are quite good. CoinMarketCap is a very good site, which I use all the time. But it has a lot of information that's kind of missing. So we want to build a platform where we can issue, well, number one, it's a central place for different type of information, mostly news, social comments, and also reviews, opinions. So it is my personal belief that the social due diligence, the crowd due diligence is much stronger than a couple of VCs. So if you have a project that wants to do an ICO, if you can get opinions from, say, 5,000 people who follow your project, and they will say good things and bad things about your project, that's a much stronger review than a couple of VCs reviewing your project. So we kind of want Info to turn into that kind of platform. Today, it is not yet. Together with Info, we are launching Binance Research. We have Binance Research team internally already. And this research team has been the team that's doing the reviews of the projects before they get listed on Binance. So now, very soon, we're going to publicly issue our review opinions. So we're going to make our opinions public about projects. So this put much more pressure on our own teams, but I think making this information available is very good for the community. And we also will get community feedback once we make our opinions publicly available. Let's see. All right, so we also have the Binance Charity Foundation, which Helen Hai in the audience is now heading. So Helen Hai is actually a very famous person in Africa. We came to Africa because of her. I'll let her introduce herself at some time. But our charity has 2 missions. It's very simple. We want to promote the education of blockchain. We want to promote education, promote helping youth getting into this industry. And we want to be fully transparent. And so the Binance charity will be a charity where 100% of the donations and will go to the ultimate beneficiary, and everything will be tracked on the blockchain. So, and you will have 0 admin costs. All the admin costs will be covered by Binance.com. So any donation that's made to Binance charity will go to the eventual beneficiary. And we will lead the donations first, and we will also solicit or ask for donations from other players in the industry. We're quite confident we can raise money quite easily. One of the things I want to explain is right now in the crypto space, now exchanges have a lot of power because basically almost every project will kind of want to list on a popular exchange. So the exchanges have a very high degree of influence in this industry right now. And we want to use this influence for the good. So we want to influence projects to make charity donations. We want to select projects that share our vision or share our mission of protecting users, and we want to select projects that share our mission for spreading crypto. So let's see, what can cryptocurrency do for developing nations? I actually don't really like this title, but I think, to me, it's like, what can cryptocurrency and blockchain do for every nation, for every person? Yeah. So I think right now, to be honest, ICO is one of the most killer apps for cryptocurrency. It is one of the reasons why the cryptocurrency price have gone up so much. And if you look at some of the reports, I think right now, from the early 2017 till now, the amount of money raised through ICOs or through cryptocurrency blockchains is 3x of traditional VC fundraising. So right now on the blockchain, there's already 3x more money being raised for startup projects. And I think that trend is just going to continue. And there's more and more money will be raised on the blockchain. And there's a few differences in the way the money is raised. Number one is, on the blockchain, you raise money from all over the world. So this puts you on the international map right away. So if you're developing a product, say, in Uganda, suddenly now you have thousands of investors from around the world. Second, this few thousands of investors are your users, right? So they will most likely use your product. And this is something that you don't get if you get a traditional VC funding, right? So now you have a few thousand people that are monitoring your development, and as soon as you do a beta release, they will test your product, and they will tell you why it's not good. So now you have this first very loyal user base. And these users, while they're using your service, assuming that they're paying for it in some form, even if it's just impressions for ads, now they get a return by using your product. So now they're investors as well as users. So now while they're paying for it, they're also getting a return. So this is an economic that never existed before. So now again, blockchain enabled this. So this is very strong. I recently did write an article on LinkedIn. From my personal experience, so Binance.com, we did an ICO ourselves. And from an exchange perspective, I've probably watched thousands of people doing ICOs, and we reviewed thousands of projects. And we have listed a couple hundred. So I think using ICOs to raise money is at least 100 times easier than going through the traditional route, than any other means available to you so far. So if it's that much easier, so let's say in a country where ICOs or blockchain is encouraged, guess how many more startups there will be? There will probably be close to 100 times more startups. If you have that many startups in your country, again, many of them will fail, but the portion that will be successful, let's say, is 20%. That 20% is still 100 times bigger than the 20% in some other country or in some other geographic location. Having 100 times more successful startups, and most of them are very well funded, is a huge booster to technology development, to economic development. So understanding that is critical for thinking about how to regulate this space, what kind of checks and balances do we want to put into this space, and especially to industries where traditionally there has not been too many VC funding. So a lot of these considerations need to go in. And once you consider this, it's not about just regulating a ICO, and it's also not just about regulating the exchange. We got to look at the ecosystem as an entire complete circle, right? So I'll give you a couple examples. In some countries, they will say, okay, now we classify Bitcoin as a commodity. Now every single transaction, there's a 5% tax. Guess what? Well, that kills the volume on the exchanges, because now people are not going to do high frequency trading. And the tax authority says, well, it's great, now we're collecting all this very large amounts of tax. But no, you're actually not, because what happens, you have no volume, you have no transactions. You're collecting 5% of zero, which doesn't work. And when the exchanges go to a different country, now guess where the project's going to go? All the projects going to go request a list on the exchange that's bigger in the other country, because the exchanges, the projects, once you have a coin, you need liquidity. So this is why people come to Binance, because we have the best liquidity. So if you issue a coin, you want it to be traded. You want it so today if the price is, say the Binance coin is about $13, you want to know that if I want to sell $1 million of those, the price does not move very much, right? So you want to have that liquidity. Without liquidity, the price is meaningless. So now all the projects will follow the exchanges, and guess where the people will go? They will all go to the next country, and in this country, then there won't be too many taxes. So it's very important to think about all of this as a whole structure. So in regions where we have seen very favorable regulations, we have seen all different parts of the government working very closely together. So that means the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Tax, Ministry of Law, Ministry of Business Administration. So all of these departments work very closely together. So and I think we're seeing that here. So that's why it gives us a lot of confidence to come here. There's a few other very strong benefits for developing blockchain technologies. It creates jobs, and for example, let's say if we have a booming economy here. Let's say if Binance launches a Uganda branch, and all the other projects follow. So it will not just be our own jobs; it will be jobs from all the other projects as well. And what's most valuable is actually you develop the industry, right? So once you develop the industry, that lasts for a long, long time. If you look at Silicon Valley, they have the startup culture, which is extremely valuable. So it's not just about 1 or 2 projects. So I think the other stuff I kind of covered. So I think in the end, what we want to say is basically, we want to increase the freedom of money for everyone. And that's really the fundamental goal that we are trying to achieve. Right. Yeah, I think that's it. So I don't know how much time I have, or if there's I'm happy to take questions if I have time. If not, I can take them outside. Yeah.
Thank you. So we're going to have a couple of questions, but round of applause for CEO and founder. You had mentioned Helen, and I'm going to ask her to come up and speak about herself. And for those of you who remember, yesterday we had live stream. Can I use your mic, please? So remember, we are live on our Twitter handle at blockchainug and on cryptosavannah.com. So tonight, I'm going to do the first selfie with yours truly. Awesome. Helen, over to you.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say the mandate of the Charity Foundation from Binance is to drive from success to significant. And why we believe we can do that, let me give you a real example. Actually, as a personal life, it's not a big fan of technology, but then I'm being converted actually by CZ this year. How come? Why did I got converted? Let me give you the story. I'm the goodwill ambassador of UNIDO to promote industrialization in Africa. I started work in 2011 in Africa. Some of you might know me. And then I was being elected as a young global leader. So I participate in World Economic Forum. And this year, in the World Economic Forum in Davos, blockchain and cryptocurrency is a big theme. I went to all those sessions. And you know what I find in the sessions? I see there's a lot of Europeans, Americans, Asians in that room talking about blockchain and cryptocurrency, but I see very little Africans in that room. In my opinion, if we say Africans, we want to leapfrog our economy, taking the advantage of the technology, but we need to be in that room, start to discussing that problem. So that is very important. It's my fortunately, actually, I know CZ for years. So in March, I had a conversation with CZ talking about this issue. And I said to CZ, for some of you, you don't know him. Probably you only know his success. But let me share you a little bit secret of CZ. This is a man only has one suit. Can you believe how simple he is? Actually, he doesn't have any hobbies. His hobby actually is working, except sports. So he's really committed, blockchain and crypto can change the lives. So I sat down with him, we were talking about the purpose of life. So I asked CZ, what do you really want? He said, actually, I want to create 1 million CZs, in the world, to be on the Forbes. So I said, CZ, in that case, please come to Africa. Let's start with Africa. So I want to go back to the comment Kwame made. I want to congratulate you. This is the beginning to create 1 million CZs, and it starts from this continent. So Binance is ready. Our charity foundation is ready. We want to move from success to significant. So the thing I want to ask you, are you guys ready?
Yes!
Thank you.
Hey, round of applause for Helen, please. Wow. The opportunities now. So we have 15 minutes, question and answer.
So you guys know why Helen's the head of Binance Charity Foundation, right?
So questions. I'm going to start from this side. We'll take 3 questions and then we'll... Okay. 1, 2.
Yes, thank you again so much. This is probably the best conference I've ever been to, and thanks for your sponsorship and the work you do. Period, hands down, all over globally, this has been the most amazing conference. Every day has been the president of Uganda, CZ, I mean, you can't even ask for more. So humbly, my name is Sinclair Skinner. I'm co-founder of BitMari. We're a Bitcoin remittance company from the US to Zimbabwe. One of the biggest problems we have is getting indigenous African developers. I think you hear about all these ICOs, but as a person who's an operator, the fact that you can build all these things, I'm like, where are the developers? So actually trying to figure that out. And then 2, dealing with banks. Being a actual operator, it's always hard to find banks in a conventional space that support your operations. What are your thoughts? Thank you.
We'll take 3. So second question, yeah. Yep, go on.
Triasimra Obed, my name's. I would like to thank the blockchain organizers for bringing a billionaire in the house. And I think Ugandans need a very big applause to have a billionaire in the house.
Question, please.
Yes, I happen to be one of the most excited person about cryptocurrencies, and I would like to forward the question to our billionaire. Uganda is actually more interested in knowing what cryptocurrencies are. Yesterday we had a conversation with the Bank of Uganda, and he said he doesn't want to discuss about cryptocurrencies. But so many Ugandans are hungry to know what exactly cryptocurrency is, how can it solve the problem of unemployment in Uganda, 89%, and how can youth who have actually adopted the concept of smartphone and who use smartphone, how can they benefit in mobilizing resources and having the money to do the cryptocurrency and trading. Thank you.
Thank you. Third question. May I request, in the interest of time, make it short, please?
Thank you very much. My name is Osa. I'd like to ask you about the Binance Angel program. I signed for it around February, then I never got feedback, tried to contact the different platforms, still there was no feedback. Maybe you'll let me understand that.
Questions. We have a lady question on the other side, and then we shall take that first round.
Hi, I wanted to ask, to what extent will Binance be involved in blockchain development in Uganda, whether it's training these potential CZs?
Okay, I think that's all the questions I can remember on top of my head.
Yeah, sure.
So going from the beginning, on the developer side, I think both people actually talked about the development resource or capacity. I think that's a very important issue, and that's one of the main reasons why we're doing a charity. we have a charity foundation for education, for bringing youth up to speed. In my opinion, that's not an easy problem to solve. It will take time. So we need to keep our heads down and invest in the education and do more events like this and do more promotions. But more importantly, we need to get into the schools. We need to get into the youth programs. So I think that's a long-term thing. And that's, to be honest, that's something I personally am not very good at. But very fortunately, we got very good people helping us right now. So that's on the, but also anything that we can help to spread the information. So today, internet is everywhere, but the internet penetration, I just checked, in Uganda is still very low. We need to think of other ways to sort of spread. I think even before spreading the freedom of cryptocurrency, we need to spread more internet coverage. We need to spread more education. So that's why we're doing, it's not easy, but we're doing this one at a time. Yeah. On the banking issue, I think many banks, I think the two questions are kind of related. I'll answer the third one first. What is a cryptocurrency? I think that's very easy to understand right now. There's so many cryptocurrencies already. So the fact that a banker doesn't want to talk about it is a bit concerning. But I think they will have no choice because cryptocurrency will be everywhere, right? So they have to. Yeah. There are more competition now. So a bank, I think many banks and even governments misunderstand cryptocurrency as a threat. But if they actually understand it, it's a huge opportunity. So this is with everything, right? So with any new technology, you can fear it and just reject it and not touch it. Or you can learn and understand it and figure out how you can embrace it, and how you can use it, how you can use it to your advantage. So with every new technology, there's two ways to look at it. So I think basically but one of the good things we are finding around the world, there are now many banks who are willing to work with us, with blockchain companies. So now we're seeing that transition now. So I think that problem will be solved soon. And the last comment about the Binance Angel, let's talk afterwards.
Okay. Round two.
How you doing? My name is Nouri Amir, and I'm building an exchange in Malaysia, right? And we're building a decentralized exchange. What do you think about decentralized exchanges versus centralized exchanges? And then what do you think about micro exchanges? Like we want to the exchange we're building in Malaysia. We're building a second component or a second exchange that will work with currency exchanges so that people can convert their cryptocurrency into Malaysian ringgits. And since I've been here in Uganda, I've seen something that I've never seen before. It's called mobile money. And I'm interested in how we could actually build an exchange that will allow people to trade mobile money for crypto.
Thank you. Do you have a question on the other side before I cross over? No? I'm coming to you, sir.
My name is Sandra Chogo from Tanzania. I use the Binance platform for trading. We usually get problems with the support. The support response sometimes even take 1 month, 2 months, that's all.
Okay. One last question. Yep. Wait.
Thank you very much. My name is Ambrose Byamujisha. I'm a researcher, but I'm wondering what criteria would you be using when you're having Binance charity? Will you work with NGOs, with governments, with private sector? Thank you.
Let's take those three.
Yeah, thank you. So the first question is about the decentralized exchange versus centralized, etc. So let me talk about that in a little bit. I believe the decentralized exchange is probably 5 to 10 years later, everything will be on the blockchain trading at a very high speed. But in the short term, I think decentralized exchanges are different from centralized exchanges in a number of ways. Number one, from a technology perspective, just theoretically, if you have 1,000 computers that need to sync with each other, they will be slower than one computer just doing the calculation and be done with it. So a centralized exchange in the short term will always be faster from a technology perspective. And when you have a faster platform, that's when you get high frequency trading, and that's when you have high liquidity. And high liquidity means better prices. So it will mean cheaper to trade. So in the short term, I think we will see that centralized exchanges will continue to be bigger in terms of trading volume and ease of use. The decentralized exchanges will have a few benefits. Number one, you no longer have to give custody, you keep custody of your funds. So you don't have to send your funds to an exchange. Whereas we actually don't want a custody of it, but we don't really have a choice. Second, you have more freedom in terms, you can be more anonymous. So you can just be one address trading with another one. And so there will be very little KYC, AML involved. This will pose a problem for the regulators. But again, if you're thinking about regulating the centralized exchange, you should think about this one first. And this one, there will be no person to talk to even. It will just be a bunch of technology working. So, but in the short term, I think the two will coexist for a while. From our perspective, I personally want there to be as many exchanges as possible. So we actually always encourage other people to build more exchanges around the world in the same regions we are. Copy our interface, copy our coin model, copy everything if you can. So we actually want to encourage more and more exchanges. We think that we're still at the very small tip of the iceberg where I think this industry has 1,000 times, 10,000 times, maybe even 1,000,000 times more to grow. So we're not concerned about competition in this 1/1,000,000th of a market share. We want the industry to be bigger. So, and also with more people doing decentralized exchanges, there'll be more innovation. The decentralized exchanges will get better. So we actually list about 7 decentralized exchange coins on our platform. So giving them liquidity, giving them more resources. So we're helping other decentralized exchanges teams. And Binance Labs actually have invested in 3 other ones privately. We didn't want to make them too public. And we're also developing our own decentralized exchange. And we also have a competition for $1 million US for new ideas on prototypes for decentralized exchanges. So this is an area that we want to promote very strongly. So I hope that addresses that. The second question about our support, you probably have a very unique issue that we don't understand. So I apologize about the length of time that it has taken. So we still do miss quite a lot of our support tickets, unfortunately. So we still need to improve our service. So I apologize about that. And come and see me afterwards. We'll see what we can do. I unfortunately cannot be the customer support for I think right now we have 8, 9 million users. But this is an area that we still need to improve on. But we are already one of the better ones in the industry. But unfortunately, we are very far from perfect. The last question was about our cooperation for Binance Charity with UN entities or other global organizations. I think that's an area Helen Hai is extremely, extremely strong on. She has made introductions for myself to meet with many different head states, have organized cooperation, and also we actually, just even today on the trip from the airport here, we were discussing a few different cooperations with different other very famous charity organizers and also other United Nations initiatives. So I don't know if I can release the names yet. I'll let Helen handle that. Again, that's an area I am actually personally not an expert, but that's an area I fully encourage and support. So you will see more of that happening very soon.
I'm sorry we have a time issue. I'd like to apologize.